Broads Media.
Before we get started, everybody, hello. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all of your support. If you're looking to take me on the road with you, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, search Sports Talk with Broads. You can find me there. 5-star ratings and reviews go a long way. Can't appreciate you all enough. And lastly, if you're interested in Coffee with Broads live streams, we do that twice a week here on YouTube. All you have to do is join the memberships here. All the information is down below. You also get access to our Discord channel. So thank you guys all so much. I love you to death and enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. Sports Talk with Broads. I'm here today talking birds, baby. I just witnessed open practice to the fans last night, and seeing 50,000 people fired me the fuck up. I can't sugarcoat it. Seeing Saquon Barkley with his Eagles uniform on, with that helmet, admiring all the fans that traveled, all the fans that stayed out there and partied all day long, tailgated just to get their feet wet. They were doing all sorts of bonkers things. I mean, I'm getting notifications on my phone that says, stay inside. It's too hot. You might not make it. And then you just see Kelly Green, Midnight Green, maybe even the black Brian Dawkins jerseys. Let's go! Let's go! And that's what makes us special. That's what makes us the best in the world. And you could tell that Saquon Barkley wasn't accustomed to that passion. Joe Shane up there all confused. Hard Knocks, making them look silly. No. And he's experienced it on the other side. He's felt the fan base and the hatred and the despising of that blue. So I'm sure he was aware to some level. But it's different when we're on your side. It's different when we have your back. And you get to experience it from that level. And Dave Zangaro of NBC Sports Philadelphia had a pretty cool shot that he posted on his Twitter of Saquon truly soaking it in. It was one of those moments where he was almost admiring maybe his journey to get here, the aspirations of actually winning a Super Bowl. The Giants can talk all they want about them maybe being good and they're not as bad as people perceive and blah, 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 blah. There's a big difference between actually having the intensity and the fire to actually go out and do it, and the talent to go out and do it. The talent being the key word here. There's one man I have to thank for me flipping a total 180 over the last few weeks. I've had trouble, obviously. If you've been a listener here, you understand that I've pretty much been ripping the Sirianni dynamic for quite some time because I couldn't shake the 2023 ending of the season. It broke me for a while, and I was having a difficult time getting over it. Now that I'm finally watching practices and hearing what beat reporters are saying about the way the offense is clicking and just the beauty of Jalen Hurts right now and his ability to run efficiently Kellen Moore's offense, where you think that there'd be more growing pains with another new offensive coordinator, so much more terminology. It's 95% new. At least that's what the quarterback told us early on, even if the head coach somewhat tried to debunk it as much as humanly possible. And he is on a different tear right now. The only time Jalen Hurts is, quote, missing passes, or I should say having incompletions, is when he puts it right on the money, right in the breadbasket, and there's a drop. Other than that, he's perfect every single time. It's right on the money every single time. We're talking weeks now. Okay, not just one practice. Weeks, consistency. Jalen Hurts is making this a lot easier of a transition for me, is essentially what I'm getting at here. watching Jalen ball out, lead this team, and clearly upset about how he was getting knocked publicly. What was it? Acho, he's been running his mouth nonstop about how Jalen's never put the team on his back. He's just a product of a good team. What a moronic thing to say. I mean, stupid thing to say. As if Jalen, during that 2022 run, didn't have a huge impact by not turning the football over, by, I don't know, being a big-time general for that offense. Yeah, their defense had 70 sacks, and that was a monster part of their greatness. But I'm not going to knock what Jalen was doing that year. I mean, Dak Prescott has had talent around him all the time. Dak Prescott has failed to win playoff games nonstop. So if I'm watching Jalen go on a run 2 years ago of beating teams in the playoffs, and Acho's even bringing up, well, I mean, the 49ers can't. Clown, hater is what it is. The disrespect to the greatness of Jalen Hurts is funny. Jalen's coming off of a, quote, down year. The NFL top 100 list puts him where? 15. Okay. These are the players that are in the trenches. These are the guys that are taking the field every Sunday and, you know, putting on the cleats, putting on the helmet, putting on the shoulder pads, and taking the gridiron. And they feel, even on a down year, yeah, this Jalen dude's a different animal. And even ranking him in front of Dak. That's why when you get these stupid lists and you don't even have Jalen in a conversation of one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the entire NFC, and Jared Goff and Dak Prescott is ahead of him, it's silly. It's nonsense. But what's really eye-opening to me, not that I really want to focus on our baseball team right now with my nerves and my energy heading into this West Coast swing, it's pretty wild about a month ago how we were 180 on both of these teams. Think about it. 1 month ago, well, actually, the Phillies have been playing bad baseball for 2 months. That's how tragic it's been. So I might have to fix my timeline here. Regardless, there was once a time where no matter if it was 640, 710, 740, 910, 1010, 940, whenever first pitch was, it was time to lock in and make sure you see every single pitch. Now, I still do that now. The difference was I was happy then. And I despised the Eagles and the current state of the franchise. Fast forward to where we are now, which is early August, and it's Jalen Hurts being a workhorse, not missing throws ever. And it's me feeling good about what this offense can be and the explosion of the Eagles with Kellen Moore. And how I feel that teams are going to struggle mightily to try and stop them and try to put them in a spot where their offense can't compete. Think about it. If the Phillies or the Eagles are going to be putting up 38 points, if they're going to be scoring high 30s, AJ, Devontae Goddard's killing people in the red zone. You even have Johnny Wilson, almost 6'7" out there. And Zach Berman is even saying, this dude's really in the mix. It's not just random, let me just throw guys in with the ones whenever I feel like it, just to give them a taste to see what different speeds like. No. He's actually seriously in the mix. And if you think of Paris Campbell and you think of Johnny Wilson and you think of who else is in there? Britton Covey's a name that's in there. And there's one more that I'm thinking, super speedy guy, John Ross. They all bring different elements. And if you can line up some of these wide receivers differently in these packages next to a Devontae or next to an A.J. Brown, there's so many different skill sets there for you to pick on and pluck in and throw in there. And if you're a defense, not that your third wide receiver is your number one goal here to stop. It's not the objective. But if you're constantly trying to check A.J. Brown to make sure he doesn't destroy you, and by the way, you got skinny Batman tiptoeing his way by the sidelines with one of the most outrageous toe taps we've seen. More times than not, there's a chance for you to fall asleep at the wheel, and here's a third wide receiver. And now you have to figure out matchup-wise. You know, you got a big body in Wilson. You got speed in John Ross. You got yards after the catch. I mean, there's just so many things that you could do here. And this is our role player. That's where the offense is. That's how deep and how many weapons you have to choose from. That's just almost a possibility in your role player position. let alone your stars. So I'm loving it, man. This offense seems to be killer, and they seem to be really aggravated about what happened last season. Not that that's surprising, but I want you to take a listen to Paris Campbell. Obviously wasn't here last year, never felt the pain that we felt. But he recently spoke on a podcast just about, the approach by everybody in the franchise right now and how it was almost a smack in the face once he realized that, they take it seriously around here. Take a listen.
Talking about that chip that the team and has, bro, we walked into it. OTAs and the offseason program, I was like, yo, we kind of, we grinding. What's going on? Usually, the offseason program kind of chill, relax, let guys, what I'm saying, get back into it. I'm like, yo, was y'all doing this last year? And nah, bro, we finished 1-7, so, you know what I'm saying? It ain't sweet. We're trying to, get guys back going. And you can definitely see, the chip just from top to bottom. And that was kind of when I signed with them, talking to Howie Roseman, the GM, that was kind of what he was telling me. He was like, yo, we think you had that chip on your shoulder just from what happened with you. And he was like, I can tell you damn straight, we got that chip on our shoulder just because of how we finished. Mm-hmm. So it was just I'm walking into a team that's hungry.
I love it, man. I really, really love it. That's awesome to hear. It's not surprising to hear by any means, but what I love is they all showed up to camp. OTAs. Yo, what are we doing here, right? It's a new era of how these camps are ran, specifically OTAs earlier in the summer. It's more of a ho-hum, let's get our feet wet. It's not going to be crazy intense. We're just kind of getting started here. Don't worry about it. You're not going to, be drained by the end of this thing. And it's yo, you guys are picking it up a notch. Yo, you guys are playing with that edge. Yo, why are we hitting so hard, right? That type of ordeal. Not that they were having pads on to the same level, but it's just that mentality and that approach. And I think that is very important based off of last year and how it all transpired. We needed a kick in the ass. We needed a serious wake-up call. And as much as I want to give the head coach a lot of love and appreciation, saying, yo, this falls on Nick's shoulders, and he's one of the ones to set the tone, and he's definitely in play here. This is no knock on Nick. I've been down on Nick, but I'm not taking shots at Nick by saying this. What I really want to do is almost emphasize where the room is, because, you lost Fletcher Cox and you lost Jason Kelsey, which are huge leaders and huge parts to what this Eagles franchise has been for my entire lifetime. And I do think Nick is a part of that culture change of the aggressiveness in OTAs and, just the mentality of working hard here, getting over last season's failures, and understanding that that's not who we are, and we have to make a statement league-wide and forget about what it means to other people, but for ourselves, because we understand that we are better than what we put on the football field through those last final 6 or 7 games or so. A lot of that stems, though, from Jalen, from AJ, because you could tell they're doing the work. And if you can't keep up pace with that, you're going to slip away. You won't be able to maintain. And if you're not able to maintain, goodbye. You can't have this level of efficiency through 5-6 practice camp days just by happenstance, just by luck. The attention to detail, the focus on everything new that's being incorporated in the offense. You got just from a wide receiver level, working with the jugs after practice and working on every detail of sideline catching, everything, nonstop, attention to detail, focus, every second, every single snap, every single play. Jalen, AJ, they're doing it. Nolan Smith, hungry, eager to make a statement. You got to keep up pace with that. Slay. I think that there is a huge development in the everybody answered the bell during the offseason, and we're watching it now play out in fruition in the early stages of camp. Something we haven't brought up, though, is if your offense is frying the opponent this effectively? Is that one, how good your offense is, or two, how poor your defense might be? I'm just saying. We haven't really gotten to that side of it yet. I'm not really there yet, to be fair. Here's what I do know, though. Here's my key takeaway. Jalen's not throwing interceptions, and the ball is not going in the possession of the defense, which made me really ask questions about your confidence level in the quarterback. And can you confidently say that if Jalen doesn't force the ball in bad spots, if he's not turning the ball over at will like we saw last season, is it as simple as we have an MVP campaign in our hands? And to me, it's a no-brainer. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. We don't need, we get enamored sometimes with stats. I was fighting with an Eagles fan on the radio the other day, an Eagles fan on Jalen Hurts and his ability to be a great quarterback. And the only thing that kept getting thrown back into my face was, yeah, but look at his numbers compared to Dak's. Yeah, but look at his passing numbers compared to player X, Y, and Z. Josh Allen. And I go, okay, Josh Allen might throw for 450 yards, but do you know what that comes with? 3 interceptions. I can make the argument that throwing for 220, rushing for 48, and having no turnovers is better. It's better. Jalen isn't the guy where the numbers wow you by the end of it. It's how much he is a general out there. In a weird way, there's 2 things I want to compare to here. I want to compare him to a point guard, and I want to compare him to a baseball player. I feel he is a general in a sense of, and some of you may laugh, the haters, that is, because the person I'm about to bring up is labeled a, quote, loser in basketball terms. But it's more just about, oh, you know what? Forget it. I won't use this person. I'll use a different player. Very similar mold. This one has championships, though, so I don't hear any of the nonsense. Tony Parker. Tony Parker. Floor general. Someone who set things up and then effectively got the offense to roll. A solid Tony Parker. Now, in a baseball sense, I wonder if we look back at 2023 with all of those issues turning the rock over. I wonder if that's similar to this Bryce Harper stretch. Bryce Harper is in a 1-for-30 stretch. We'll probably never see this again out of him until he's maybe 36, 37, last few years of the contract, and you sort of have to live with the downfall of an older player more so than anything else. But I'm talking about in the prime of his baseball tenure here in Philly. 1-for-30 is bizarre, and it's not the norm. I wouldn't be surprised if when Jalen Hurts' career is over, there's maybe 1 or 2 seasons that stick out like a sore thumb. And the correlation is, no jokes aside here, all jokes aside. No jokes. I'm not joking. I'm being serious. I just truly think that the play design and the inefficiency of Nick hurt him more than anything else last year. The turnovers won't look this bad with the majority of what Jalen provides because it's just not who he is. It's so uncharacteristic. He's smart. He's intelligent. He doesn't put the ball in harm's way. And now he's become such a crazy solid passer that when there is tight coverage and when Quinyon Mitchell is battling with A.J. Brown and there's not much separation and it's sort of a 50-50 ball, he's putting it in the area where only A.J. Brown can get it. And that's almost that next development in his passing game. He's almost pinpoint accurate. Ew, wow, whoa. That's where his passing has been in camp. Legitimately perfect. And sometimes that may result in the DB winning the 50-50 battle, I'm sure. Or maybe the ball gets deflected up when A.J. Brown and whoever's defending him are, trying to pinpoint or high point the football and it bounces off someone's helmet and it goes up in the air, a safety snags it or whatever. But, I'm just talking about really the more of the full body of work of Jalen. We'll look back at 2023 going, I can't believe we had to sit through that Nick Sirianni offense, because when Jalen got real help with play calling and design and structure, he was a killer, man. He executed those game plans perfectly. And that's the style of quarterback he is. You tell him what to do, he goes out and does it. Coach's son, ultimate teammate guy, as we saw in his college football days. It is what it is. He's a guy, and I say that in a way that, I know some get upset with that. I want a different type of quarterback. I want someone who just does it on his own. It is what it is. This works for Jalen. And when Jalen is on his A game and the coordinator's on his A game and they're locked and synced, you'll see what that can do. Be the best offense in the league. That's what it could do. Here's Nick Sirianni before the open practice. He met with the media for about 10, 15 minutes or so. It was a short one. This is what he had to say on the quarterback.
Yeah, you guys have seen, he's been sharp. He's been really sharp and been really happy with how he's been operating. He's been in complete control of the offense, and he's really operated at a really high level and knowing where to go with the football, making accurate throws, moving the pocket to buy extra time, or whatever, or if it turns into a run. So he's had an outstanding camp. We're early in camp. I know he wants to just continue to improve. We just want him to continue to improve one day at a time. But thus far, he's had a really good camp.
So I don't think that that's just lip service. Sometimes these coaches can speak or whatever, and it's like, he's just giving you the coach speak, and he's not going to throw anybody under the bus, and he's saying, yeah, it's good. I've seen it with my eyes. I've literally watched it with my eyes. I've seen how dynamic he is. There's a reason why people who have been on the beat and have been to a billion training camps with the Eagles, whether it was before Sirianni or whatever, all the way back to Andy Reid when he first got cooking here, all that good stuff, they all say the same thing. I've never seen this level of efficiency before. And then, they've obviously seen all of Jalen's camps. I've never seen this before. So I've never seen this level of efficiency from any quarterback. And then since Jalen has taken over and he's been the prime quarterback, no. This is unique. That's not just lip service. Because the on-field product is supporting those words. Somebody brought this up to me on the phone lines last night. Never really thought about it. And this is somewhat silly barroom talk. But it was about Kenny Pickett. And the question was essentially, could it be where Kenny Pickett inspired Jalen to have this type of season? Only because, think about it. A few years back, Jalen was in the position of Kenny Pickett. Different but similar. Kenny wasn't drafted. I don't know what was being said behind closed doors to Jalen. We thought it was just because they value the backup. But when you learn more and you see how the Carson Wentz fell apart, then maybe it was more of that following step. And knowing last year was very uncomfortable, is it possible that the sneaky snail Howie Roseman had some words for Kenny Pickett saying, listen, we don't know really where Jalen is. Even though we paid him, we've moved off of contracts before. So all I'm saying is, not me, but this is what the caller brought up and laid out there. Jalen might know how this operates. So is it possible that that lit a fire under his ass? And my response is, I don't think so. I think Jalen's truly disappointed in himself. I think Jalen is very upset on how it all played out. I thought Jalen was being authentic, raw, and real when he was talking about, just sort of what happened last year when that was still more of the focus and all. And then he talked about most recently more in the direction of moving forward here. And his relationship with Nick and how they feel in a good place right now. And I think he means that because it's truly about making up for last year's failures more than it is anybody coming for his job. I do want to tack on this, though. Maybe he does use that as motivation, but in a different way than you're thinking. We've heard Jalen Hurts get somewhat described similar to the Mamba mentality. Him and Kobe not too far off, and there's only very rare few people that have that type of mentality. In a way, same with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would make things up to get him pissed off so he can go out there and fry people. I feel Jalen's the same way. So maybe this just happened to fall on his platter. Oh, you're bringing in Kenny Pickett? Okay. Now, full disclosure, I just feel that they like their backup quarterbacks. Since I've been born, they've absolutely needed backup quarterbacks and thrived with backup quarterbacks. And I think Kenny Pickett, for the value, is a serviceable backup quarterback more than anything else. That's what I think it is. But what does Jalen do about it? Maybe he does use it as motivation. But if there was no Kenny Pickett, he would have found something else to have motivation. I'm just curious from the thought process of Jalen's been on the other side before, and if Nick did a little whisper, don't say anything, I'm just letting you know how I feel so you understand and we're on the same page. Well, hold on a second, because I've been on that side. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's the case. I said silly barroom conversation, but it's just interesting. That's all. All right, why don't we wrap up by listening to A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown spoke about Devontae Smith and Jalen. So this is somewhat packaged together. First half Smitty, second half Jalen. Take a listen.
Nobody has been able to cover Devontae all camp. He's been having an amazing camp. I think the offense is doing a really good job. Just trying to execute. It take all players. Jalen's been doing a great job as well. I'm expecting Smitty to take another jump, because he definitely has all the tools. And for me, sitting on the side watching him, I know how hard he works. So it just makes everybody around him better. So that's what we want. So I think he's doing really.
Real quick, that was the Devontae front. Gonna get better. Now, of course he is. Yes, he is going to get better. No doubt about it. He's going to get better. He's going to get better. He's going to get better. But that's what's scary about it, baby. You're telling me he's got so much more in the tank. What's the ceiling? Imagine being a corner knowing that there's a guy out there where his ceiling is maybe 3 times what Devontae's already done. And by the way, that's your second option in the skill position room. Oh, I'm easy to win over, aren't I? All right, here's the Jalen side of it.
Really well. I think he's I can't speak on with what he's doing actually, but I know he's like I said, he's just doing a good job leading the guys, and we're executing. We're executing, and we're gonna try to continue to keep that going. I know it's a long way from now, and a lot of stuff we have to continue to work on. We haven't arrived or nothing like that. It's just been 5 days, and it's practice. So we're not hooping and hooraying about what's going on, but I can definitely say we feel like we're headed in the right direction, and we're challenging each other and we're competing. So that's all we can ask for.
Beautiful. It's all beautiful, baby. It's all beautiful. Jalen, remarkable camp so far. Here's to summarize. In control of the new offense, all right? Hitting Dallas Goedert, red zone, looks nice. What else? The only incompletions are drops by receivers. He's throwing dimes. The whole thing is magnificent, and I'm giddy. I mean, I got to be honest with you, especially I'm a little less giddy now, believe it or not. I mean that too. I'm a little less giddy now than I was last night around 9 o'clock when practice ended and, you were starting to see all the fans and whatnot. I guess my blood is boiling in like, let's go mode. Like my adrenaline is cooking. Blood boiling sounds negative, but I'm saying more of like I'm ready to put my hand in the dirt and say, let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's get this season rolling. It's August. We're rolling into that month. The Phillies are breaking my heart. And, I'm excited to move on from last year. And now that I'm seeing football, actually seeing football again, I'm ready for 2024. And it all stems from the quarterback and how much pride and faith I have in that man, Jalen Hurts. I'm excited. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you all on the next one. Go Birds.